All right, my friends, let me put my glasses on so I can see. Welcome. Let's grab a blanket to sit on. And maybe blocks, but I don't even know if we need those. We're going to do twists today. So let's begin actually seated on a blanket. Get your hips a little bit higher. I have found this in our sadhana that it feels really good to have my hips up a little bit. It's funny how our brain says, you're fine, you don't need that. So go ahead and sit on a blanket or a cushion or a block, whatever works in your body best. Make sure your knees are supported so they're not just hanging out in space. And let's come to a comfortable seated position. Let your hands rest in your lap or on your legs, or maybe a hand on the chest, hand on the belly. Just finding sensation of touch, touching your body, connecting your hands to your body. Let the breath start to deepen and lengthen. Let it take more time. Softening the jaw, pulling the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Softening the shoulders, let them grow heavy. Feel your sit bones underneath you. Feel your hips and the heaviness of your body seated on the earth. Notice your thoughts and where your attention rests. And then tuck your chin slightly and let's just rub our hands on our body for a minute. Maybe we just rub our hands back and forth on our legs. Maybe we hug ourselves and rub our arms. Maybe we just push pressure on our chest downward. Maybe we rub our necks, but just let your hands move for a minute and feel that sensation of touch. Maybe the movement pairs with the breath. And then come back to stillness. Let's place our hands on our legs if we haven't already in our lap. And I want us to just start to rock side to side. If you'd rather have your hands on the earth, you can for more support. But I want you to notice the action that's happening in the body as we sway from side to side. Tune into the flexion of the spine to the side, the bending. Notice what the hips do. The hips are our foundation here in this moment as we twist. And then pair this movement with the breath. Maybe we exhale as we side bend. Inhale to center. Exhale to the other side. Notice where you feel the stretch. Good. And then coming back up to center. So now I want you to leave your hands on your legs. This will feel really weird and odd, and your brain will be like, this is silly, I don't like this, but give it a try, see what happens. And we'll start to twist a little bit. So as we exhale, just twist to one side. Notice how keeping our hands on our legs limits our range of motion. That's what I'm looking for. Inhale to center, excuse me. Exhale the opposite direction. Inhale to center. And so now again, just notice the rotation of the body and the spine. Notice how different this is, and notice where the action originates. I want you to bring this revolution down to your hips. I love that statement. No matter what we're talking about, bring the revolution down to your hips. Good, and then maybe the hands start to travel along the floor, letting this range of motion expand out and make bigger twists. Good, and then come back to center. Feel the body. Notice what you're aware of. Now we're going to put the two together and see what happens. So as we inhale, sit nice and tall. We're going to side bend first. Side bend to the right. Right hand comes to the mat. Left hand stays down because I want us to just feel into the rib cage, right? So typically we kind of crunch in. I want to create space in the bottom and the top. Yeah, and there's a little bit of leverage. Belly pulls up and in, and now we twist towards the ground. Notice what happens in the spine. Gaze can look behind you to the right. And then lengthen the heart. So we take that side bend out a little bit. Good. Inhale, unwind and rise all the way back up. Feel everything settling back into alignment. And now let's go the other way. So left hand comes out as we side bend to the left. Open the rib cage, create space in both sides. And then as we exhale, twist to your left. And then lengthen the heart. Notice the action here. Where do you feel this in your body? What's working? And then inhale, unwind, and come all the way back up. Good. Let's switch the cross of our legs. And now we're going to move into seated cat and cow. So as we inhale, rock the heart open, the front body open. Exhale, open the back body. So here we are in flexion again, but in a different plane of movement, right? So we've done side to side, we've done rotation, and now we're doing forward and back. And this is just one to warm up our body, but also to understand the different planes of movement that our spine can take. Some joints only move in one direction, right? Like open and close, side to side. The spine gets to move in all different directions. Last one. And then come up to center. Feel the stacking of the vertebrae grow through the crown of the head a little bit. And then as you exhale, walk yourself forward. Curl the spine and let the head get heavy. Let the shoulders be heavy. So feel the curvature of the spine here. So we're going to add a rotation here just at center, just like we did with the side bend, we side bend and twist. So now we're going to forward bend and twist. So I want the right hand to stay on the ground. Maybe the forearm comes to the earth. And then the left hand comes to the thigh or a block or the ground. And we're going to roll ourselves open as we twist to the left. So bringing that revolution into the spine in a flexion. Good. Exhale, release, and rise all the way back up to seated. Let's start all the way back from neutral. Notice where the areas of resistance lie in your body, right? Like some of us have open spines in this direction. Some of us have open spines in this direction. Some of us have open spines in this direction. When we put those movements together, It shows us where our tight spots and lack of mobility is, decreased range of motion. All right, belly draws in, exhale, fold forward again. Let the spine curl down, let the head hang. And then the left hand stays on the ground or the forearm comes in front of you. The right hand comes to the floor, the earth, the leg, and we'll twist to the right. Make sure you're breathing, my friends. Good, and then gently release and come all the way back up. Yes, take a moment, feel the body. Good. Let's make our way to hands and knees. Pat up those knees if you'd like. And once you get there, let's do some side bending again. So right hip towards right shoulder towards right hip. On an exhale, inhale to center. Exhale, left shoulder and hip towards each other. Inhale to center. Keep going. Exhale, side bending. Inhale to center, exhale, side bend. So notice where this movement comes. Sometimes it's more of our hips, like our hips are really moving, but our shoulders aren't doing much. Sometimes it's our shoulders and our hips are still. See if you can get both the shoulders and the hips to play. Good. Coming back to neutral when you're complete with both sides. And now let's take a shoulder twist in the shoulders. That was hard for me to say. So on an inhale, right thumb comes to the armpit and we roll it open, twisting to the right. Good. Belly draws in as we exhale, reach underneath us, moving into thread the needle. Head and shoulders come to the earth. We're not going to stay. Inhale, roll back open, thumb to the armpit. Exhale, tuck it under, reach across. One more. Inhale, roll it open. Exhale, tuck it under, and this time we're going to stay. So make a pillow for your head, reach that arm across. The left arm can stay bent, pressing into the twist. And then notice the rest of the spine. We've just worked a lot in different planes of movements. Can you flare the sit bones so you find a longer spine? Are you side bending a little bit? Can you straighten that out? So this is more of really just a revolution in the spine. Good, and then inhale, draw the thumb back to the armpit open. If you want, you can extend that arm straight up. And then release. Good, pause at center, hands and knees. And let's take some circles with the body. So now we get to put in all directions of the spine. Finding flexion in side to side and up and down. Maybe there's a little rotation as we come around. Keep going. And then go the opposite direction, playing with that again. Yeah, nice. And then we'll come back to neutral. So now we get to do this on the other side. So first find that long spine. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. And then inhale the left thumb to the armpit, twisting to the left. Exhale, tuck it under and reach to the right. Head and shoulders come towards the mat. Inhale, roll it open again, thumb to the armpit. Exhale, tuck it under and reach. One more. Inhale, rolling it open. Exhale, tuck it under, and we're gonna stay here. So find a pillow for the head. Let that right arm be leveraged. Make sure there's space between the shoulder and ear. And then again, maybe you start to play with the spine, finding more neutral position other than the rotation. Notice if the tailbone is tucked, see if you can lengthen it back out. Notice if you're bending in one direction or another. See if you can neutralize the flexion and focus on the rotation. And then inhale, coming back open, thumb to the armpit. Maybe that arm extends. And release. Good. This time as we exhale, arch the back and bring the hips back towards the heels. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, drop the hips, lift the heart. Couple more times. Inhale, back to all fours. Exhale to a child's pose-ish. Inhale to all fours. Exhale to an up dog-ish. One or two more times. Good, and then come back to neutral. Let's tuck our toes and lift our hips to downward facing dog. Once you get there, just kind of move around for a minute, feeling the length of the spine again. Make sure you lean back. Make sure your heels are heavy. Make sure your shoulders are engaged. Good, and then from here, let's take the right leg into the air. Keep the leg extended as you open the hips to the side. So we're moving into a twist from the hips. Keep the right shoulder heavy. Lean back into this. Feel the revolution in the spine. Good, and then exhale, close the hips. Bring the foot between the hands. Let's plant the back knee. Pat it up as you'd like. Sink the hips and keep the left hand on the mat. Maybe you take a block under that hand because that ground is far away. Right hand comes to that front thigh. So to begin with, I want you to think about shining the heart forward, letting the hips get heavy so we're neutrally aligned in our spine. Hips are doing some funky things, don't worry about them. They're gonna make our spine feel different. And then as we exhale, press into that right hand and rotate to the right. Feel how the spine moves. Good. Inhale back to center. And for now, I want you to keep the hips fairly even with the earth. Exhale, rotate again. Inhale, lengthen. Last time, exhale, twist. And now we're going to let the hips join in the fun. So maybe that left hip drops down. Maybe the right hip starts to come back. Maybe we can twist a little deeper. Notice what that does with sensation in your body. Head is in line with the spine. Make sure it's not somewhere funky. Good. And then maybe this arm, the top arm, the right arm extends long to the sky. Couple of breaths. Beautiful. Exhale, hands to the mat. Let's step back to downward dog. Take a moment. And then let's flow through your choice of vinyasa. Maybe there's just cat and cow or some twists. Maybe it's child's pose. Maybe we roll all the way to our plank. Exhale to the earth. Inhaling to our back bend. And we will all meet in child's pose for a minute. The forehead rests down. Knees can come wide. Good. Again, let's meet in downward facing dog. Take a moment settling into downward dog, moving around a little bit. And then inhale the left leg into the air. Keep the leg nice and long and lift that left hip. So again, there's a twist from the lower half of our body. Keep that left shoulder heavy as well. Keep breathing. And then close the hip on the exhale. Bring the foot forward between the hands. Drop the back knee. Keep the right hand on the ground or a block. Let the hips come forward. And the left hand comes to the front thigh. Take a moment, lengthen the spine, even out the hips with the earth. And then as you exhale, rotate to the left. Keep the hips fairly even. So this rotation is in the back and the middle and upper back. Exhale, close it back down. Inhale, rotate it open, twisting to the left. Exhale, close it back down. One more, in or exhale, twisting, and now we let the hips join in. So let that right hip get heavy, the left hip pulls back maybe. Long spine still, option to take that left hand to the sky. Feel how that deepens the rotation here. One more breath. And then release the hands. Step back to downward facing dog. And again, you choose downward dog, vinyasa, or child's pose. We will meet again in child's pose. Letting the body rest. Feeling the breath, finding the breath again. Sometimes we lose it when we get deep into the body like we are. Take this time to reset. Lovely. Let's make our way to downward dog. We'll meet in downward dog. So again, inhale the right leg into the air. Open the hips, and then this time bend the knee. See if that gives you any more rotation. We've shortened the lever. Keep that right shoulder nice and heavy. Keep the side bodies long. Inhale, extend the legs long, close the hips, untwist. Exhale the foot between the hands. Stay on the back toes this time. Coming up to a high lunge, rising all the way up. Yeah. Good. Exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to talk about the hips here for a minute. So scissor the inner thighs together. Let the hips be heavy and keep the weight evenly between the feet. Draw the belly up and in. Yes. As we twist, I want us to think about the rotation in the hips. And so we're just going to do the beginning of a twist here. So twisting in the hips in this position is the right hip pressing back, the left hip drawing forward. Notice how your upper body rotates a little bit. Yeah, come back to center. And again, twist from the hips. Good, back to center. One more time, rotating. And now with our hands at our heart, feel the ribs rotate, the shoulders rotate, and then maybe the head. Feel how everything stacks from the hips up. Maybe the arms extend open, maybe not. Make sure this right hip doesn't float to the sky, right? We don't want that flexion. We want long spine here. Yes. Unwind from the top back down. Head, shoulders, chest, ribs, belly, hips. Arms reach overhead. Good. Soften the shoulders, lift the heart. Exhale, hands to the heart, step to the front of your mat. Whee! Take a moment and twist your body, right? Just let everything kind of flow. Notice how your body feels when you reset. Good. Coming back to center. Let me see what time it is. My brain just went to another fork in the road. Oh, excellent. All right. Feet hip distance apart. So everything we've talked about, right, is going to be super important in engagement and length, right? We're going to move into a twisted chair. What happens typically is we kind of curl in and twist, right? What I want to have happen is we hinge and we rotate. Do you see the difference in my body? So we curl in and twist because we want to get that elbow to the knee, right? Instead, I want us to stay long and rotate. You see the difference? So think about that. That also means you probably will not go as far as your brain wants you to. And all that means is that you're listening to your body, which is exactly what I want you to do, instead of listening to your head or comparing yourself to anybody else. Okay. All right. So let's give this a try. Feet are hip distance apart, actually maybe a little bit closer together. Belly draws up and in, weight is in the heels. Hands just stay at the heart or at the hips, wherever feels good. And then exhale, sit back into a chair. Check with the knees, make sure they're not sinking in or rolling open. Make sure they're in line and make sure the weight is in the heel still. Wiggle your toes. Yes. Right hand comes to the left thigh, hip, knee, wherever you can reach. Left hand to the hip. Belly draws up and in, and we rotate to the left. Long spine, keep the heart lifted. Yes, these look fabulous. Check the knees, make sure they're not falling in. Good, inhale to center, hands to heart. Let's stand up, give our legs a break for a moment. And then exhale, sit back again. Belly draws up and in, left hand to the thigh, hip, knee, whatever. Right hand to the hip, and we rotate. Long spine. Heart stays lifted. Yes. These are beautiful. Inhale back to center and stand up. Good. Okay, so we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna give you an option to go a little deeper. Listen to your body, not your head. Because your brain is like, ooh, I can do that. And it's gonna go crunch. I don't want that to happen, please. I want it to be, ooh, I can try it. Oh, nope, there goes my spine. I'm gonna come back to a place where I can keep it long. All right? Okay, so let's take the feet even closer. They don't have to be touching, but let them be super close. Belly pulls in, hands to heart. Exhale, sit back into a chair. Maybe this is a little bit deeper. Lift the heart. Feel the engagement here. Option to bring the left elbow to the left thigh. Now, sometimes the elbow doesn't get there, right? That means you bring your hand to the thigh, the arm to the thigh. Otherwise, what happens is we kind of crunch in, right? This is where our brain takes over and it's like, I can do it. You're missing the beauty there. So exhale, elbow towards the thigh if the spine stays long, and then we rotate to the left. Breathe. Yes, I love everyone's options. Good. Unwind with slowness and grace without ricocheting out. Rise all the way up. Pause. And we're going to go the other way. Hands to the heart. Lift the belly. Draw the pelvic floor in. Exhale, sit back. Inhale here. Exhale, twist to the right or whatever the other side is. Maybe you hook the elbow, maybe the arm comes out. Looking to the side. Yep, long spine. Yes. Inhale, unwind. Stand all the way up. Woo! Well done, my friends. Feet come nice and wide. And let's just twist it out again. Make sure those knees are unlocked. Great work. I'm proud of all of you for listening to your bodies. And sometimes it's a surprise, right? You're like, oh, I can look at that. I can do that. We are our own worst enemies in both ways. All right. Come back to the top of the mat. Mountain pose, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold deep. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Take a moment moving around in downward dog. And then find stillness there. Okay, other side, here we go. Left leg lifts into the air, open the hips, finding that rotation, and then bend the knee. See if that gives you any more twist. Keep the shoulders as even with the earth as possible. Make sure you can breathe. Inhale, extend the leg long. Exhale, the foot between the hands. Stay on the toes as you rise all the way up to a high lunge. Good. As you get their hands, come to your heart. So even out the hips. Maybe the hands come to the hips as well. That is always a nice way for me to see where I'm at. Weight is even between both feet. Hips are heavy. Inhale, lift through the front body. Exhale, rotate to the left from the hips. The hips are what's rotating. So that means the left hip comes back, the right hip comes forward. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist from the hips, just the hips. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate. And then we add the rest of the body, the belly and the ribs, the chest and the shoulders, the head. Maybe the arms open to the sides. Breathing here. And then with control, we unwind from the top back down. Head, shoulders, ribs, belly, hips. Arms reach overhead. Feel the length. Lift the heart. Exhale, hands to the heart. Step to the top of the mat. Nice work, my friends. Let's take a half salutation here. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Lift the heart. Exhale, fold deep. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Gaze lifts, heart lifts. Exhale, hands to the heart. So do one more of those. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up again. Exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Take a moment right here. Let's take a twist standing and see what happens. So we're going to actually do big arm circles. So this twist is going to come from the shoulders and work its way down. So what we did in the lunge was we started with the hips, worked our way up. So now we're going to work the other way down. So feet are maybe a little bit wider. I like to have a really solid base as I do this. And inhale, the right arm up, forward and up. Exhale, elbow bends and drops back. Switching arms, inhaling the left arm forward and up. Exhale, elbow bends and drops back. Let's do one more on each side like this. Inhaling forward and up. Exhaling, open and back. Last side. And now we're going to do it again, and I want the whole body to get involved. So inhale the arm forward and up. Exhale, look behind, twist the body as it releases down and come back to neutral for the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, look behind as the arm drops back. Keep going a couple times with this, noticing the action in the body and what happens in the back and the spine. With your breath, make sure you are still breathing. It's really easy to hold the breath. One more on each side. And notice how the body responds when we restrict movement and when we encourage movement, right? Two very different energies here. And when those are complete, just come back to stand. Beautiful. Let's move into a yogic squat. So feet are hip distance, maybe a little bit wider. Grab a blanket under the heels, take a block to sit on, and we'll exhale, bring the hips down. Hands come to the heart. Yes, the hips be heavy. The heart is lifted. Good, and you know we're gonna twist here, right? So we're super compressed. How is that gonna work, right? There's gonna be a little bit of flexion and a lot of rotation. Hips are kind of stuck where they are. So right hand comes towards the left. Left arm reaches to the sky as we look in that direction. So a couple things happen in my body. There's a little bit of flexion to my right, and there's a little bit of extension into almost like a cow spine. Breathe. Exhale back to center. Hands come to the heart. Good, let's go the other way. Left arm reaches across, right arm opens as we look to the right. Really pay attention to what's going on in the body. Good, exhale back to center. Take another breath in yogic squat. Notice the space you've created just by doing those 2 twists. Good, and then release to seated. Take our legs out in front of us, shake it out. Good, and let's support those hips again and come to an easy seated pose one more time. So I want us to move into a Sufi grind only because I want us to pay attention to the action of the spine. Notice, do you do Sufi grind with simply flexion? Do you do it with a straight spine, so it's just in the hips? Do you do it with a little bit of rotation? And I encourage you to play with this today. I've been playing with several of my clients about cat and cow action in the Sufi grind. So play with this. Notice how you move first, and then see if you can add in some of the things we've talked about today. So inhale as we scoop forward and around. Exhale as we circle back. Just take a few cycles of this to notice how your body moves. So for me, in my Sufi grind, my spine is fairly straight and stable. Like I don't really have a lot of bend in it because I like to keep this in my hips. And so now I invite you to kind of play with some of the actions that we've been talking about. How can you add a twist into the Sufi grind? How can you add flexion, that cat and cow motion, that side bending? Yeah, just notice how each one feels. Maybe you do one, you're like, whew, that was not fun. I don't like that. Great, do something different. One more time around. And then come up to center, pause. I know we've only gone one way. Let everything settle. And now we go the opposite direction. Start with your traditional movement, right? Like how are you just moving in your Sufi grind? Follow the breath. And then add in some of the actions we've been playing with. I really love that challenge of adding a twist into Sufi grind. It's hard for my brain, but feels really good in my body. One or two more times around. Changing it up a little bit if you'd like. Maybe you found something that you absolutely adore and you want to just stay there. That's fine too. And then gently coming back to stillness, to seated. Feel the body. Beautiful. Let's make our way to our backs. So have a blanket or a bolster nearby just to support your legs, because we're going to, of course, go into a twist. When you get to your back, hug the knees in for a minute and feel the length of the spine, right? The hips, I want the hips to be on the mat. I want the shoulders to be on the mat. And maybe you just kind of move your legs around, massaging out that lower back, feeling your hip placement on the mat. Right now, my right hip is rotated in an odd place, and I'm working to get that back in. So, like over a period of time. So I feel that on the mat. Good. And then I want us to roll to our right side, all the way over. Knees bend, support the head with a blanket. Arms come out in front of us like we're clapping our hands. Arms are straight in front of our heart. So our hips are going to stay stacked. We're going to take the twist in the upper body. As we inhale, that arm comes straight up to the sky. Exhale, let the arm fall back. It won't necessarily touch the ground. Inhale back up to the sky. Exhale, close the hands together. So feel this rotation in the upper body. Inhale, reach the arm up. Exhale, let the arm fall open. And notice how much work it is to keep the hips fairly stable. Mine moves a little bit, but I want to keep it fairly stacked so the stretch and the twist comes into the upper back and the shoulders. Keep going. We're going to do a couple more of these. Good. One more. We'll end, close with our hands clapping on our side. Good. Once you get there, roll onto your back. And just rock those knees side to side. So same kind of action, but from the other end of the body, right? Notice the hip movement. And then hug the knees into the chest. This may be where you want that blanket or bolster to come in, because our legs are going to fall to the right. And stay. So notice how the rotation in the lower body feels. This is kind of the more traditional twist we take on our backs. Find a place of support and ease, a place that you can stay for a few moments. And notice how it feels different in the body. Make sure you can breathe. Make sure your legs aren't just hanging out in space. And even here, think about long side bodies, right? The hip is pressing away from the armpit. Good. Very gently come back to center. And let's take a full body stretch here. Just reaching everything nice and long. Maybe moving around a little bit. And then as you're ready, we're going to roll to your left side, just like we did on the other side. So laying all the way on your left arm reaches straight out from your heart. Support the head with a blanket or a pillow. Right hand is on top. Hips are stacked. Inhale, open the arm to the sky. Exhale, let it fall back and open. Yes, inhale back up to center. Exhale, close the arm, connect the palms. Keep going nice and slow. Inhale, lifting and reaching to the sky. Exhale, letting it fall open, stretching the front of the shoulder. Feel the action. Inhale, back up. Exhale, closed. Notice the action of the twist in the upper body. Keep going with your own breath in your own time. One more, starting from wherever you are, one more after that one. And then we'll meet closed, resting on our side with our hands together. Good, gently roll onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest again. And this time from here, just rock those legs side to side. Notice what happens in the body here. So this in yoga and physical science, this is open chain movement because our feet aren't grounded. The one we did before was closed chain movement when our feet were on the ground and our knees went side to side. It changes everything in the body, the action of the muscles. All right. Coming back to center, hug the knees into the chest and let them fall to the left. Arms come open. Find support for those legs. Make sure the shoulders stay grounded. And just breathe here. Again, noticing the difference in the twists from the upper body to the lower body. Press the hip away. Stick with the breath. Notice the body. Just another moment right here. And then gently come back to center. Again, take a full body stretch. Putting a little bit of movement into that if it feels good. And then today, I invite you to take the flattest Shavasana possible. I often like to put stuff under knees, under heads and hips and stuff like that. But I want you to be as low to the ground and as long as possible. And that means maybe you put a blanket under your knees. Maybe you have something under your head so it's comfortable and not crampy. But I encourage you to just be open. Legs come wide, like even wider than the mat. Arms come wide off of the mat. Check in with the neck. Make sure it's nice and long in the back. And if this feels okay with your body, I want you to just stay here, flat on the earth, taking up a lot of space as you settle into Shavasana. So soften the gaze, close the eyes. Let the awareness wander away. Let your breath soften. And feel your body connected to the earth. Begin to deepen the breath. Bring awareness back to the body. Feel the body resting on the earth and all of the points of contact. And then very gently and very slowly begin to put movement into the body. Taking your time, starting small. Gradually moving more and more of your body. Until you feel ready to take a full body stretch. And then roll to your side, curling up into a little ball. Gently help yourself to a comfortable seated position, letting the eyes remain closed to focus inwards. Palms press in front of our heart. Lift our heart to meet our hands. Take a breath in and out. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within guide your way on. Namaste.